More Secret Service agents find themselves in trouble after a second prostitution scandal. We have all the details.
And a new suspect is now in custody, accused of murdering a military wife, where authorities found the weapon they believe was used to kill her.
Students may be facing higher interest rates on federal loans. We have their reaction to the news.
And are we expecting more April showers this weekend? I'll have your weekend weather coming up. Newscene starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of Newscene. I'm Alex Miller-Pastore.
And I'm Ashley Sanchez. Thanks for joining us tonight.
The Secret Service is confirming an investigation of a second prostitution allegation, this time in El Salvador. Seattle TV station KIRO first reported on the allegations, stating that the Secret Service employees received sexual favors from strippers at a club in San Salvador just before President Obama's visit there in 2011. Victoria Newland, a State Department spokesperson, confirms that the reports are being investigated.
We've seen this press reporting. Obviously, we will inquire of our embassy in Salvador with regard to the conduct of our own employees, but the article alleges that they attended the establishment, not that they engaged in any illegal or unsanctioned conduct.
These new allegations come just weeks after another prostitution scandal involving Secret Service agents erupted in Colombia.
The state of Connecticut is now the 17th state to abolish the death penalty. Governor Daniel Malloy signed the bill into law on Wednesday, saying the death penalty was unworkable, being used only twice within the last 52 years. California taxpayers have reportedly spent more than $4 billion on the state's execution since the year of 1978. The state of California will vote in November on whether or not to keep it in effect.
We've been hearing all week about the threat of interest rates on student loans doubling, and Laura Caplineto is here with the details of what is going on.
Well, you know, actually just today, Congress did vote to prevent the rate from doubling. However, the Republican-led bill would pull funds from a healthcare program that provides for cancer screenings and child immunizations. So today the president said that he would veto the bill, which he called politically motivated. Incidentally, that is a term that you could use to describe the entire student loan debate.
It seems American college students just can't catch a break. With tuition costs already on the up and up, there's now a chance that on July 1st, federally funded student loan interest rates could double. Students will be paying 6.8% as opposed to the current 3.4% unless Congress decides to postpone the vote till next year. The issue has provided ample material for the campaign trail. This week, President Obama toured colleges in battleground states, telling students he was once in their shoes.
When Michelle and I graduated from college and law school, we had a mountain of debt. We only finished paying off our student loans about 8 years ago. Think about that. I'm the President of the United States. It was only about 8 years ago that we finished paying off our student loans.
Perhaps, observing the president's momentum among young voters, Republicans are now coming out in opposition to the doubled rate.
I fully support the effort to extend the low interest rate on student loans, in part because of the extraordinarily poor conditions in the job market.
Both political parties are vying for students' favor, but over an estimated $5.8 million price tag on the extended rate. House Democrats want to cancel tax breaks for big oil companies, whereas Republican Speaker John Boehner plans to pull funds from Obama's health care plan, bringing the overall budget debate back to about where it began.
With the threat of interest rates on their college loans doubling, here on campus, City College students had something to say about it.
It's like hard enough as it is, you know, being a student and struggling, and then you have to worry about what you're going to have to pay off in the future.
It really limits a lot of choices for everyone, and you know, that really concerns me.
I was even thinking about getting that loan because I don't know with the interest, like how bad it is going to be to pay it back, and if I'm going to be able to pay it back. And now if it's going to double, then that's just going to finish really bad.
Well, you know, Laura, I recently heard of a retired couple who are still paying off their student loans.
Yeah, it's crazy. Something does have to be done with it.
That's right. It affects a lot of people. Thank you.
Thanks.
Newt Gingrich is officially out of the race for president. He announced he's ending his campaign earlier this week. Gingrich finished well behind Mitt Romney and Rick Santorum in all of his primaries. Gingrich's campaign struggled with debt and several key staffers resigning last June. He says the race turned out to be a lot more challenging than he first expected.
Look, I just think there are times when the mountain gets bigger than your ability to climb it.
Vicious, negative nature of much of the news media makes it harder to govern this country.
Next week, Gingrich is expected to announce he's endorsing Mitt Romney. The U.S. Supreme Court is reviewing the Arizona immigration law commonly known as SB 1070. After Wednesday's hearing, the judge seemed to show support for the controversial state policy.
I'm very, very encouraged from what we all were able to view today and hear. I thought that the hearing went very, very, very well. I feel very confident.
So far, federal courts have blocked 4 elements of this law, which allow police to check immigration status while implementing other laws in Arizona. The government believes states should not make immigration policy resolutions. However, the question remains as to whether states have the authority to enforce immigration matters. Civil rights implications have not been revised in this case. A decision is expected late June.
And Newscene didn't have to go far to find a public display supporting free speech.
Here, the Tucson, Arizona Public School District made a list of books that could not be taught to students or available for students to read. In response to Tucson's list of banned books, the Chicano Studies Department at City College decided to collect and display as many books on the list as possible.
Banning the books in Arizona is part of like a complete set of changes that the sort of like the administration, the government of the Congress in Arizona.
San Diego City College's banned book display is the first of its kind in California. Student volunteers like Silvan Vacarino played an important role in helping to set up the display.
Well, I am a Chicano myself. I'm a Chicano student. I was walking through the library and I seen said banned books, and I started looking at the books and I realized, like, these are books that I read. These are books that my younger brother reads. He's my younger brother. Yeah, he wrote a book report on the book Bless Me Ultima, and that was up there, and that was a book that I grew up with.
Even different kind of literature related with ethnic stories and related with the experience of Mexican American had been banned from schools in Tucson. So that is the inspiration for me to try to sort of like let other people know that that is happening in Arizona, and that is definitely wrong.
I'm Adriana Carlos with photojournalist Ben McFadden for Newscene.
The book display will be up the rest of the semester and may be followed up with a banned book fair.
A father from Cherry Hill, New Jersey is drawing attention to bullying. He wiretapped his 10-year-old autistic son a cane before sending him off to school. When he listened to recordings, he says he heard teachers verbally abusing his son with special needs. Take a listen.
Now, yes, sir. You go to see any books in the library, or you just look at sculptures? Oh, here you are. You can't see.
No one deserves to be treated with cruelty and to be humiliated. And that we who can speak for them need to stop it by changing the law, by exposing people who bully kids, and by publicly shaming them.
There has been at least 9 similar cases of teachers bullying special needs children across the nation since 2003.
A recent case of mad cow disease has been discovered in a dairy cow in Central California. This discovery has many people concerned about the safety of meat products. However, the federal government says consumers shouldn't worry because dairy cows aren't involved in meat production. Milk is safe, and the cow that tested positive for the disease did not enter the food supply. This is the 4th cow to ever test positive for mad cow disease in the U.S. An infected cow will die, and consuming infected meat can kill a person. Coming up, another arrest in the death of Brittany Kilgore. We'll have the latest.
And football fans tuned in as the NFL draft kicked off last night. Find out which team scored big on their picks.